Hello everyone, this is Gleb, and today I want to show pretty advanced but pretty useful way of dealing with dynamic pages. So imagine I have a page and it shows subtotal, total, and then a couple of fees. So if you add subtotal to the tags and the tips, you should get the total. The problem is we are getting these numbers dynamically. Notice they load and appear not one by immediately on a page load, and even not together, but one by one. But at some point, the page should have numbers that add up to the total displayed. How would you write? Well, at the end of the day, we want to do something like this. We want to add subtotal tags and tip, and it should be close to the total. The problem is, when do you get those values? If you get them at the beginning, when the page just loaded, well, they're not even there, or at least some of them are not. And some of the elements are not there, but some are, and they just display dash dash, like right here. And then it changes to a number. So here's what I would do. Okay, I'm gonna comment out the assertion just for now. And I would say, get me the element with ID subtotal. And I can say should not have text and maybe something like this. And this will retry until subtotal doesn't have it, right? And the same with total, right? So notice how this will retry until total loads, and now it has $24.85. And we can do other things. We can say, okay, once you have hopefully a number instead of dash dash, we can grab its inner text, map it to a number by running it for number callback, and save it as subtotal alias. And we can do the same thing for total, okay, subtotal total. And we can do the same thing for the tags and the tip. All right, so now that we have hopefully 4 numbers in 4 aliases, we want to get all of them together at once. And at this point we can, and the easiest thing to avoid Pyramid of Doom is to use setThen and provide a function callback. Because inside the function, all the values that we set before as aliases are available as properties of this object. So we can say this tags, this tip, right? So this tags, this tip should be close to this dot total. And so we added retriability and we added aliases, but did not do a Pyramid of Doom. Okay, so it seems like we concatenate values instead of getting it as a number. Let me see why. If we're debugging this, then what we can do, open the console, click on the map. Oh, well, yes. So what happens, notice we're getting arrays instead of numbers, and that's because scikget returns a jQuery object, which is literally like a list of elements. So when we map and map to a number each one, we should get the first element from that numbers array. Okay, we're trying, and now it's working. Perfect. I don't particularly like this, even though we avoided Pyramid of Doom. We have so much repetition, right? We're getting each element one by one. We're converting it one by one. Why can't we do something like this, where we take total and maybe tags? So basically use the CSS or selector and grab all 4 elements at once. And while we can't really confirm that it doesn't have text, but we can still map everything to a number, and maybe to retry we can use should callback, right? And we can even maybe get the values right here, right? And distract them into subtotal, total, tags, and tip. And we don't need this anymore, so we can potentially switch away from the callback function syntax to a fat arrow, why can't we do something like this? Okay, and notice it actually adds up, right? Well, in this instance, it's working, okay, because the subtotal, total, tax, and tip were actually in the same order as elements on the page. But if, for example, we switch those around, right, and we don't know what's the order on the page, then we'll have a little bit of a problem because the CSS or selector and jQuery don't respect the order of selectors. You say subtotal, tax, tip, total, but whatever the elements it finds on the page that matches one of those four selectors will be element 1, then 2, and 3. This is why, since I'm already using Cypress map with its map and maybe, print callbacks, I wrote a query command that says get in order, I believe. And it acts just like scigget, okay? But it gets each selector and confirms that it exists one by one. So subtotal, then it will find the tax and put it as the second element, tip, and total. And instead of a single selector, you pass an explicitly an array of strings. Okay, so now notice subtotal, and then 1.7 the tax, then the tip, and then the total. So it returns the elements in the order specified selectors. Okay, so use Cypress map. It's pretty good plugin. I'm pretty proud and I use it myself all the time. I'm gonna put the link to my Cypress example site that has this full source code so you can check it out for yourself.